cast production laborer, or maintenance technician. Visit concreteindustries.com.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red!
The temperature and leaves are falling daily, so that means it's time for a new pair of shoes for the fall season from Brown's Shoe Fit. Now through October 31st, take $15 off any regularly priced fall shoes and boots. Brands like Keen, Oboz, Echo, Taos, and Atrex all $15 off. Some exclusions may apply. See store for details. This is the sale you've all been waiting for, so get down to Brown's Shoe Fit on 66th and Q.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills Global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Fall is here, and so are cooler temps, darker evenings, and slick roads. Is your vehicle ready for the change in seasons? At A1 Automotive, we've got you covered. From tire checks, brake inspections, batteries, and heater systems, we make sure your car is road ready for the Nebraska winters ahead. Don't wait until the first frost. Schedule your fall car care checkup today and drive with confidence all season long. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
Schweizo Construction is now hiring for skilled craftsmen, steel erectors, concrete workers, and general laborers. Schweizo Construction offers great benefits like premium wages, health and dental insurance, paid holidays and vacation, 401k with company match, life insurance, and disability insurance. They pride themselves on a legacy of 40 years built on integrity and trust. Joining their team means becoming part of a family that values hard work, dedication, and mutual respect. Apply today at schweizo.com. That's schwisow.com.
Are you looking to upgrade or improve the garage door on your home? This is Cameron Hall of Doors Plus. At Doors Plus, we guarantee to offer a wide selection of options from 5 leading garage door manufacturers as we deliver a free estimate, exact measurements, and rapid installation with a 3 to 5 week time frame. When you choose Doors Plus for your residential garage door needs, you'll work with our experienced technicians and be ensured that your new door seamlessly complements your home. Give us a call at 402-590-5800 or visit us online at DoorsPlusLLC.com. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
It's time to go one-on-one with DP. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Derek Pearson, brought to you by Canopy Street Market.
Boom in your face. We're live here on One-on-One on 93.7 The Ticket. As you can tell, I am not DP, but I still tried to say boom and in your face, as is tradition here on One-on-One. I'm Jake Bachman alongside Austin Orman in here, ready to entertain you for the next hour. Of course, it is $5 Bits of Broken Chair week. It is $5 Bits of Broken Chair Eve, if you will. So Nebraska and Minnesota will be going to battle tomorrow. And we'll talk plenty about that. But we've got other things to talk about as well. If you're ready to lay down the Matt Rhule, the Penn State stuff, I think a lot of people have talked about it ad nauseum throughout the week. I think it was the distraction earlier. We're ready to move on. But then we get a text right away from Nick on YouTube to open up the show. I was just going to ask you, Austin, I was going to ask you the biggest question people want to know in sports right now. Is Cooper Flagg a point guard? But we can put that on the table for a second. Nick texts in on the Starter Heyman text line 402-464-5685. He also did so on YouTube, and since he did the double duty, the effort to get his question on here, we can go ahead and try to answer it. Would you rather lose the next 2 games and keep Coach Rule, or win the next 2 games and lose Coach Rule by the end of the season? Of course, there's going to be more that goes into it than that. I'm not sure if Penn State's making their decision based off if Matt Rule can beat Minnesota in Northwestern. I think there's
or how
going to
about
be
Northwestern and UCLA?
That might be a little bit more interesting. They might do that. I think that Penn State game certainly could come into question. But Austin, I'll throw it to you. 7-1 start, no Coach Rule next year, or 5-3, and you get to keep him.
I think that, again, without speaking for Matt Rule, I think that he would say, the program's got to be bigger than one person. And I hope that after the previous 8 years, Husker fans would understand that the coach means a lot, but the coach can't mean everything. You win the games. You win the games. You plain and simple win the games. That's not to denigrate or minimize the work that Matt Rule has done in Nebraska. DP and I talked about that yesterday on Old School. He's turned around the battleship in a lot of ways. And, it's felt like bluster for a couple of years, but now we've seen back-to-back games where Nebraska has trailed late. They found a way to come back and win. And even the vibe I get from the fans, Bach, has not been, when's the interception coming? When's the fumble coming? It's been, okay, Nebraska's got a chance here. And they've paid it off. Matt Rule has done some great work at Nebraska. But I think fans would be kidding themselves and lying to themselves. And I think it would be just repeating the same mistake they did before if they said, if Matt Rule leaves, then who's going to keep Nebraska going? Because that's the same conversation as, well, if Scott Frost can't win at Nebraska, who can? He has the alumni behind him. He has the support of the entire state. Everyone loves him. Look at his previous success. And that didn't work out. That coaching debacle and really even the Kentucky and North Carolina men's basketball jobs really turned me off of, if he can't do it, then who can? And I think Husker fans, for the most part, have gotten out of that mindset, and I think that's healthy. It would be a blow to the program if Matt Rule left when it seems like things are heading in the right direction. It would. Undeniably so. You want the continuity in a lot of ways. Matt Rule has proven he's a good college football head coach. But the world won't end if he decides that someplace else is better for him right now. Nebraska will go get another coach. And of course, there's risk involved. I'm not going to say the next person, if it happens, would come in and keep things rolling seamlessly. There might be another transition period. I know Husker fans don't want to go through that and they don't want to hear it, but it's not, if Matt Rule leaves, Nebraska's screwed. It's, hey, Matt Rule did a lot of good stuff. There's always a risk when you switch coaches, but the program's not screwed if Matt Rule decides that Nebraska's not the place for him.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And it all is kind of an interesting backdrop to the whole conversation, which again, it was fun Monday, right? It's starting to dial down a little bit, which I think as it should. Like I said, Nebraska, Minnesota will play tomorrow, and this, shouldn't be a distraction, particularly because the decision's not going to be made now, and there's a lot of season left to play out. I have my own thoughts on that. I think it's a little bit silly. Matt Campbell's back on all these lists. Remember when Nebraska was going through their thing and was looking for a coach? Matt Campbell was high on the list. He struggled that year, and then all of a sudden he was untouchable. You can, everything that he'd done in his career at Iowa State was
not good enough.
Yeah, it just was not. He wasn't winning. Top 25 games, all that sort of stuff. And here, a few years later, he's rebuilt, and they've had the most winning season they ever did last year. Now he's at the top of all those jobs. So I think it is a bit silly to be so within the moment to say, well, we might hire. We'll see what the next 3 games look like. You should know probably by now if he's a legitimate candidate to you or not. But at the same time, that's the approach. That's what's going to kind of happen here over the next several weeks. So no decision is necessarily going to be made. But in this scenario, again, that Nick texted in here, would you rather lose the next 2 games and keep Coach Rule, or win the next 2 games and lose Coach Rule at the end of the season? If you lose the next 2 games, I fear the want or the idea that Matt Rule has led Nebraska back to where they need to be, and therefore is a candidate for any other job, would dial down quite a bit itself. I think you'd be kind of back into, well, are we gonna get out of Pinstripe Bowl again? I mean, Nebraska needs to win these next 2 games. There's no doubt about it, for themselves, beyond anything that has to do with Matt Rule. And then the other thing is, you win the games, and again, in this scenario, you lose the coach at the end of the season. But in general, I think we hopefully, and Matt Rule kind of pointed this in his press conference, hopefully we can get comfortable with Matt Rule being the top of all these lists, because ideally, if Nebraska, or one way or the other, if they win 9 or 10 games this year, there's going to be more openings, and there's going to be more ideas that maybe Matt Rule could come in and save these other programs again, because it will have been his 3rd program that he showed in year 3 that he can do it, and especially at the highest level at Nebraska. Now, there's Terrell always is going to throw in, there's a more difficult schedule, all that stuff next year. So there's different things to think about, but that's where it would land. Penn State's always going to be the one opening that's going to scare people the most, or and even in my mind, be the one that it would be hard to blame if he took. But ideally, not just him, but everybody on the coaching staff is going to need a raise, need more money, because Nebraska is succeeding. And if you get to 9 or 10 wins, again, he's going to be on more than just the Penn State list.
Yeah, there's a lot to break down there. I think first and foremost, I'll start with what Matt Rule said about get used to it. It's part of the deal. Well, it's part of the deal for him as a head coach. And yeah, Husker fans haven't been through it. I was talking with Tom Chattel about this on Monday. Nebraska hasn't had a sitting head coach leave to be a head coach somewhere else since 1957. It doesn't happen to this program. But I think he's misguided a little bit, because the type of turnover that you can survive as a program more often than not is when your assistants leave. Look at John Cook and his volleyball staff back in the day. They were turning through assistants every couple of years because of the success. But what stayed firm, what stayed steady? John Cook. Look at Alabama football. Same thing. Nick Saban stayed in place. His assistants changed over. That's easier to overcome than losing a head coach. Really, I think the only school that's been able to consistently lose a head coach and stay good is Utah State men's basketball. I don't know. Are you familiar at all with Utah State men's basketball's history at all here, Bach, in the recent years?
Mostly just the Craig Smith.
Yeah. So,
stuff.
Okay, that's a great place to start. So I want to get my facts straight here. So Craig Smith took over from Tim Durye, who went 17-17 his final year. Craig Smith was there for 3 years, went to 2 tournaments. Ryan Odom was there for 2 years, took over from VCU, 18-16, then made the tournament. Next year, Ryan Odom leaves, takes a bigger job. Danny Sprinkle comes in and takes over. And if the name Danny Sprinkle sounds familiar, well, it should, because he's now the Washington coach. So from 2020 and 21, that season, through last season, there have been 4 different head coaches at Utah State, all of whom have taken the Aggies to the NCAA tournament.
That's incredible.
It is incredible because it's so rare.
Yeah.
You can't be churning head coaches like that. It's healthier when your program is winning and your guys get talked about moving up. It's kind of hard to move up from Nebraska. It's possible for some people. Others would say this is the destination type of job. But I don't think that the head coaching churn is ideal for any program, even if you can make it work. And then it comes into the, well, does everyone need a raise? Well, yeah, they probably do. But then college football specifically spends more money as a percentage on coaches than any sport in the world. At some point, some of that money, someone's going to have to be the leader and say, you know what? You're our coach. We love you. But if you want to have success, you got to knock your salary down. We'll pay for as many assistants as you want, as many analysts as you want. But your personal salary has got to be in the 5 to 7 range, not in the 8 to 10 range. And even 7 might be a little bit high. I mean, look at what, NBA head coaches and NFL head coaches are making. It's not the same. I'm really fascinated to see which school is going to be the first one to hire a new head coach and say, you're our guy. We love you. But have a head coach come in with that same vision of, yeah, I can't take up an extra $5 million a year that could be going to recruiting and retaining talent that will help me win.
It is fascinating overall because I think, all this stems from the fact that, obviously you couldn't pay for play. You couldn't pay players for the longest time. So if you were going to make a financial investment into your program, it was the coach. It was the coaching staff. And so once that model has been set, it's going to be hard now to go back and say, well, no. There's better places that we can allocate our funds and to get a coach to agree to that. So, I mean, it is interesting. It is fascinating. And some of these top programs, it's always so interesting to follow the money because, there's different levels. And that's what Matt Rule was kind of saying the other day too, is that there's going to be university cuts and stuff like that. And, DP was pointing out Penn State kind of shut down one of their satellite colleges out there. That's why Matt Rule said you got to separate that from the football thing. And people, I don't know. There's all different sorts of feelings about that, especially over the years, the student before athlete, all that sort of thing. I think there's been a separation. I'd lean more in toward Matt Rule, and in fact, I say it would be healthier for the rest of sports, the college sports, to kind of break away from football themselves. So that way they can go back to regionally traveling and playing, opponents that make a little bit more sense for tennis or track and field, wrestling, even basketball. I mean, all these other things, really maybe outside of basketball, anything that's not necessarily turning a profit. So, I mean, I think there's all different ways to kind of view that. And I do want to be clear too, it's not just that everybody automatically gets a raise if Nebraska wins. It's that there would be more people calling and asking about if their availability, right? And so that's why you would make that raise, but it wouldn't be necessarily, okay, there's certain areas of the football team that struggle, right? I don't know if Nebraska gets to 9-3 or 10-2 right now, and it looks the same as it did in the first half of the year, if you necessarily, I don't want to call out something specific, but like the offensive line coach, you want to give him a raise if they keep improving, maybe, and if there's calls for him to get it right, but not necessarily if they're kind of overcoming that part to have their success. So very interesting way to kind of break it down. Again, this is a topic that just kind of is going to kind of stick around. People want to move on to the game. There is that. Again, opened up ESPN.com this morning. There's Will Compton on the front, which is something I didn't think I'd ever see. But talking about Matt Rule and the Nebraska job. It's the second video after Cooper Flagg playing point guard was my lead story there.
Before we get to that, I see 1, 2, 3, 4 different people pull up the same name for who their next choice for Nebraska's head coach would be. Dana Holgorsen. What's your reaction to that, Bach? I mean, the idea of Dana Holgorsen as coach and people throwing him out there as their preferred candidate.
Well, I mean, and I think in general, let me just first say he's the most fascinating piece to all of this in a way, because if Penn State wants Matt Rule, do they also want Dana Holgorsen, offensive coordinator? Because I could argue, and as a Nebraska fan, if Penn State fans want to know, I don't know where this team would be without Dana Holgorsen. I mean, would the offense? Maybe you make a different hire, obviously, and then maybe Matt Rule would get more credit for that hire if it's a career offensive coordinator rather than a head coach. So, I mean, again, a lot of different ways to look at it. But in my mind, Dana Holgorsen has really helped Matt Rule get into this position. And if I am at Penn State and I'm saying, okay, well, who you're going to bring along as your offensive coordinator, that would be interesting as well. Dana in himself, I've thought for the longest time, I don't think he's going to be a 15-year offensive coordinator at Nebraska. So I think at some point there's an idea that he'll probably want to get back into the head coaching field. I think it makes a lot of sense for continuity. I don't think he's near the top in just an open list. And that's why he's not coming up for the Penn State. He's not coming up for the Oklahoma State job. Well, to a degree, the Oklahoma State job, but that's because of ties in the past. But like all these other jobs that are open, he's not a top 5 name. And therefore, if I'm Nebraska, I wouldn't necessarily put him near the top. But for the level of continuity, that would be ideal. But I just don't know if you make a decision as serious as that just for continuity's sake.
Okay. I could see Dana Holgorsen as the next head coach. I could envision that, which again, who knows if that's even going to happen. There's a disclaimer. Okay, folks, I'm not saying this is going to happen. Let's get that out there. I'm somewhere between Dana Holgorsen wants to be a head coach again and Dana Holgorsen is Chip Kelly 2.0. Chip Kelly tried the head coaching thing, was really successful at Oregon, tried it in the NFL, came back to college. It wasn't horrible at UCLA.
He's
light
not
the
been
world on
awful in the
fire.
NFL or college, to be fair.
No, exactly.
He's had down years. Which,
right.
Yeah,
Who doesn't?
Right.
But I think Chip Kelly, what you're finding is he's more comfortable as a coordinator in a lot of ways. That would not shock me if that's Dana Holgorsen. I'm with you in that I don't think he's the 15-year OC at Nebraska, especially if Matt Rule jumps ship, especially if that happens. But I don't know if Dana Holgorsen wants another head coaching job. The right head coaching job, sure. He's an Iowa guy. That's where he's from. That's where he went to college. I'm not saying he's the next Iowa head coach or anything after Kirk Ferentz or Iowa State if Matt Campbell leaves. I think Dana Holgorsen would be a good fit for Iowa State in some ways, right? Knowing the area. He's seen what it takes to work at lower levels in that state. I would say he's more in that range for jobs. The one name that I can promise you, absolutely promise you, will not be Nebraska's next head coach after Matt Rule, whenever that is Lane Kiffin. Railroader Matt, Lane Kiffin all day, only one name for our new head coach. Derek in the car, Lane Kiffin is the only candidate. Rule's not going anywhere. And I think there was one other person that said Lane Kiffin. Why would Lane leave Ole Miss? Why? He's got all the resources he needs down there. He has direct access to talent. He's very comfortable in that sort of environment. Lane would have to button up to come to Lincoln. He would.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Oh, yeah.
That Lane Kiffin is not leaving Oxford for Nebraska.
He was born in Lincoln. I think that's always the
And
tie.
his dad
the
was
hope.
here.
Right.
I get it. But Lane is not leaving. Is the Big Ten really, truly better than the SEC? They're comparable. They're pretty comparable. That's a lateral move at best. And Ole Miss has had much more recent success than Nebraska has. Lane is not leaving Ole Miss for Lincoln. It's not happening. You could talk me into James Franklin coming to Nebraska. I think they would be smart to go after him if Matt Rule takes and just makes that coach swap. I'm not sure James Franklin would do that, but you got to at least ask. But Lane is not leaving Ole Miss for Lincoln. I can promise you that.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's got to be some, again, to a degree and awareness of where the Nebraska job is now, and where Ole Miss is now. Ole Miss is a top 5 team. He's got it built up, and it's been it's pretty stable, from year to year. Unless there is something that he's never revealed, is that he's got some undying dream to be the head coach at Nebraska.
Why is no one talking Joey McGuire? Because Joey McGuire has access to Texas talent and Cody Campbell's Texas Tech money down there. Cody Campbell is not coming with Joey McGuire to Lincoln.
Right.
He's a Texas guy. So that's why Joey McGuire with his Rule tie is not coming to Nebraska.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't want to get too far ahead and start naming coaching candidates for a Nebraska job that isn't open. I do think it is interesting. Hey, I've said Bielema for years.
Interesting. See, Bielema was much more likely to take over Iowa.
Yeah.
When Ferentz leaves.
Yeah.
But still, would Bielema go back to his alma mater over access to Chicago talent, Wisconsin talent, closer access to Ohio talent? I'm not sure he leaves Illinois. I would probably leave Illinois for Iowa, but he's got a pretty good situation going on right now.
Yeah. Well, and Iowa's not that far off, though. I mean, that's part of that, too, with Illinois. I mean, Illinois is obviously having a better season, but you look at the team overall. I've argued for years if you could get Bielema or Belima, as he was once called here, to Nebraska, that'd be a great idea. But he coached at Wisconsin, has an Iowa tattoo, and now coaches in Illinois. I was not exactly sure if he, because played at Iowa, that's why he's got the tattoo. I don't know if you could ever get him. I always liked his fit for Nebraska, and that's what would be interesting too. Is if the job did come open, would there be? Would you go after a fit for Nebraska, or would you go after the best candidate? All that sort of stuff. So, that, again, we could kind of table that for maybe a time when the job comes open, because there are all sorts of ideas and all different thoughts there. But again, coming back to what we were talking about with Kiffin and some of those candidates, is you just got to kind of understand where Nebraska is on the totem pole. And I think we wouldn't be the ones to say Nick Saban again or Urban Meyer. I mean, we've been through the Jim Tressel thing. I mean, haven't we? We kind of know that Nebraska needs, again, to be built up. And that's what makes it all interesting, too, and I hate to say this is going to get me in a little bit of trouble, but if Matt Rule did end up leaving Penn State, again, I think he'd have to get to 9 or 10 wins here this season. In a way, he'd have succeeded again at what the goal was at Nebraska when you hired him. Obviously you have long-term goals of winning championships and all that, but even on his resume, that's not what was there. What Nebraska hired was the program builder. He will have brought them back to that level. And again, I'm going to get a little trouble for saying this, but that's somewhat what Trev did, right? I know Trev stabbed everybody in the back. He's the Butkus Award winner, all that sort of stuff. But, we all kind of have the idea that he's maybe has some bigger goals at play. And his goal to kind of get Nebraska back, you might dislike his decision, but he basically when he took over, the sports at Nebraska were not competitive. And when he left, he left with the good group of sports going in and competing all together. So it's kind of interesting, again, to watch all that stuff break down. Thanks for the text, Nick. You got us going into quite a conversation there. We will read more of your texts and continue this conversation along with looking more at Nebraska and Minnesota and a couple other things in the world of sports. We'll do that coming next year on One-on-One with DP on 93.7 The Ticket.
Parkview Animal Hospital and Corn Coast Brewing Company invite you to join them October 18th for Ales Helping Tales at Corn Coast Brewery in Lincoln. Enjoy a limited edition brew available at both Corn Coast Brewing locations in Lincoln and Omaha, as a portion of the proceeds will go to support Brave Animal Rescue in their efforts to help find dogs and cats their forever homes. Parkview Animal Hospital will be on location with great raffle prizes and helping bring awareness about pets in need. They hope to see you there.
Have you heard about Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center? Located at 7555 Pioneers Boulevard, Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center offers compassionate, patient-focused care and provides outpatient surgery services, making it possible to have non-emergency surgery and return home the same day. Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center specializes in cardiology, vascular radiology, orthopedics, pain management, and much, much more. Give them a call today at 402-261-1085 or online at amimaging.com.
Attention all Wings fans. Buffalo Wings and Rings has daily specials that will make you want to stop in on all days of the week. Kids eat free on Mondays, and on Tuesdays, enjoy 40% off boneless or traditional wings at a price that makes the whole family happy. And come back on Wednesdays for $1.39 chicken tenders all day long. Get to Wings and Rings today, 68th and O, or in Williamsburg Village.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red!
The temperature and leaves are falling daily, so that means it's time for a new pair of shoes for the fall season from Brown's Shoe Fit. Now through October 31st, take $15 off any regularly priced fall shoes and boots. Brands like Keen, Oboz, Echo, Taos, and Atrex all $15 off. Some exclusions may apply. See store for details. This is the sale you've all been waiting for, so get down to Brown's Shoe Fit on 66th and Q.
Concrete Industries has immediate job openings for precast production laborers and maintenance technicians. Concrete Industries offers great pay, health benefits, 401k, a wellness program, holidays, and paid time off. Apply today to earn a starting pay of $21.50 per hour plus a $1,500 hiring bonus. Concrete Industries is hiring all experience levels and offers on-the-job training. Start your career today as a precast production laborer or maintenance technician. Visit concreteindustries.com.
Imagine starting your day with a computer glitch that leaves you feeling stuck, frustrated, and unable to get your work done. You have 1,000,001 things to get done today, and waiting for the tech issue to solve itself isn't one of them. It's time to let Hamilton handle the tech so you don't have to. We help businesses across the state spend more time on what they do best and less time frustrated with office technology. As the official business IT partner of the Huskers, we're focused on providing custom solutions that set you up for success now and in the future. Connect with us today at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
MHC isn't a new company, just a new name. Moe's Moving is now Moe's Home and Commercial. Whether moving across town or across the state, MHC Moving has you covered, specializing in home, apartment, assisted, and independent living moves. MHC can handle your commercial moves as well. MHC Moving has 0 hidden fees. You'll never pay for same-day booking or be charged for stairs, heavy items, or elevator fees. Rates are the same Monday through Saturday, and you will never pay a truck or fuel surcharge. And they offer payment plans through PayPal. Call MHC Moving today at 402-853-7167 or go to mhcmoving.com. Schweizo Construction is now hiring for skilled craftsmen, steel erectors, concrete workers, and general laborers. Schweizo Construction offers great benefits like premium wages, health and dental insurance, paid holidays and vacation, 401k with company match, life insurance, and disability insurance. They pride themselves on a legacy of 40 years built on integrity and trust. Joining their team means becoming part of a family that values hard work, dedication, and mutual respect. Apply today at schweizo.com. That's SCHWISOW.com.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills Global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
When your home fills up with family, Allo Fiber makes sure that space is a happy place for everyone. Allo Fiber experts install it all. And full service means step-by-step support, guiding you through everything so you can stay connected to what matters. And the family can always feel at home. Put the game on, and don't worry about your Wi-Fi calling a timeout. Better TV and internet service is one connection away. Call Allo at 866-481-2556 or visit allofiber.com.
This is where it happens. Long hikes with friends, kayaking adventures with family, more horseback riding, zipline gliding, rock face climbing, hammock camping fun than you could ever imagine. And it's all outdoors, amongst the trees and across the prairie, here beneath Nebraska skies. Plan an outing today at yournebraskaadventure.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
You're listening to One on One with DP, brought to you by Canopy Street Market on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We are back here on One, getting us ready for Nebraska and Minnesota, talking more college football. Of course, there is some football this evening as well. I guess I don't know what is on the college docket, but Steelers and Bengals as well. So we'll see if Zach Taylor can get some more wins there in Cincinnati. Always an interesting situation with the Joe Burrow injury to see how much pressure of that is falling back on Zach, but there might be a few too many years of injured quarterback excuses for not winning. What do you think about Zach Taylor's job right now with the Bengals?
I think that Zach Taylor is a good coach. I don't think he's a great coach necessarily. I think any and every coach looks better when they're surrounded by elite talent, and certainly the Bengals have that on offense, except that their starting quarterback is now on the shelf, and Jake Browning, despite having the same initials as Joe Burrow, is not the same quarterback. Who could have guessed that in the long run? Not really his fault that he can't build a defense. But is it his job to build a defense or coach a defense? I get that it's kind of a holistic thing. I don't think Zach Taylor has done so poorly in Cincinnati that he's one of those guys that's going to get, exiled from the league or, blacklisted because he was so bad and ran such a poor ship. I do think that there are things Zach Taylor is a young first-time head coach still. I mean, relatively deep into his tenure by NFL standards. Certainly things he can improve on, I'm sure. But let's not forget the organization that employs him. Notoriously cheap on the margins. Not exactly a free agent destination because they don't really take any swings there. If it goes south for Zach Taylor again and he ends up getting fired, I'm not at all surprised. That does not make him a candidate for Nebraska because I think that he does have enough respect as a game planner, offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach that he might get another shot as a head coach down the line. But I think there is legitimate respect for him across the NFL, and that's where he's sticking.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, at least as a coordinator, he's considered a bright mind. Obviously, helped lead them to the Super Bowl, which was huge, and in his went to an AFC Championship game. Just the last couple of years, 2 9-8 seasons, now 2-4. So it is. It's what have you done for me lately? So we'll see if the Bengals can get it done here against the Steelers tonight with Joe Flacco starting. I had to look it up because I was wondering, okay, which one of these guys is older, Joe Flacco or Zach Taylor? Zach Taylor is 2 years older.
Is he?
But
he doesn't look older.
It is close. Yeah, Flacco, when he went up there, he looked like that's what I saw him at the podium. I was like, that kind of looks like a coach just because of his age. But so that should be an interesting game. One of the biggest rivalries in NFL too. So we'll see if anything necessarily comes from that. There were a few notes that I had from earlier in the week that I just never got to. Obviously because of all the Matt Rule and Penn State stuff going on. Did you see that we had a very intriguing game in Nebraska involving Concordia? Did you see what happened with Concordia?
Yes, I did. Concordia, lovingly dubbed Lincoln Lutheran West.
There you go. Love it. Yeah.
Got my fair share of connections to people who are connected to Concordia, even though I have very few direct connections there. Yeah, woof.
Yes.
Against Nebraska's upcoming men's basketball scrimmage opponent a week from Monday against Midland. It was so big, it got the shout out from Bill Connolly at ESPN.
Yes.
Incredible.
It's getting some national attention. So if you don't know, Concordia had a 38-7 lead over Midland in the third quarter, throw a 31-point lead. They end up losing to Midland 60-52 in double overtime.
Mm-hmm. What are you supposed to do at that point? What do you say to your team? Well,
I could have won it, obviously.
See you Monday for practice.
Yeah, that is a tough game to really break down. And, overall, too, I think, just diving off this real quickly, because I was thinking about the Nebraska-Minnesota. You get to this time of the week, you think, okay, what are my keys to the game going to be? Nebraska lost the turnover battle last week 3-0, and Minnesota got outrushed like 242-30, and both teams won. So my keys to the game going into this week, I'm thinking, I'm kind of lost because these teams have proven that they can win despite getting pretty beat up in some usually pretty favorable choices for key to the game, running game in turnovers. So it'll be interesting to see how that kind of goes. But I thought it was at least a shout out for Midland, worth a shout out for Midland. Hopefully we'll see if Concordia can respond.
How do you respond to that?
I don't know.
Okay, you're up big, you're coaching, put your backups in. No, I can't do it. We blew a 31-point lead last week. You can't do it. Starters, you're playing 60.
That will be the next time they're up big and their second team gets scored on. You're right. There's going to be, okay, here we go again. Let's get the starters back in. That will be interesting. I don't know. That is just that is a tough game on either side. For Midland, I mean, you got to imagine how you felt midway through that third quarter. You know what I mean? It's like, well, and you got to, that at least is a belief that is instilled in those guys that it is not over until it's over.
You know who Midland's head coach is, right?
Who's that?
Jeff Jamrock.
Okay.
Former Nebraska assistant.
There we go.
Yeah.
So shout out Jeff Jamrock for getting his team to fight back and get that win. Here's another former Husker connection that didn't go so well this week. Trent Bray was fired at Oregon State after an 0-7 start. They did go 5-7 last season, but had lost 6 of their final 7 games down the stretch. So therefore, over there at Oregon State, he was 1-13 in his last 14 games. Interesting that we know from his time even at Nebraska, I think he was the interim head coach for like a week, but that he was considered to have a great future. Obviously, this is not the end-all be-all for Trent Bray. We'll see what happens next for him, but it really is part of a longer story of what is happening to Oregon State. This is obviously coming off Jonathan Smith's successful run there. It's not like the same old Oregon State that maybe Nebraska thought was impressive enough to hire Mike Riley away from. But so it makes you wonder where Oregon State, obviously along with Washington State, they're going to try the new Pac-12 moving forward, but they have fallen a long way from where they were. now the staff is still in place, but I did want to take a look, say, okay, what other former Huskers were involved in this? Mike Kavanaugh, the offensive line coach out there. He was not particularly a fan of one of my questions I gave him in the circle back in the day. So I still like Mike Kavanaugh, former Husker, right? Ryan Gunderson is the offensive coordinator and quarterback coach out there. So another guy that was seen as young and had a lot of upside and talent in the future. So again, this withstanding, hopefully will just be a bump in the road for him. Here was the surprising one. Danny Langsdorf is on staff. Any idea what Danny Langsdorf was doing with Oregon State?
Former Nebraska offensive coordinator Danny Langsdorf. If you're asking me the question in that way, and that's how you're framing it, it's probably something ridiculous. If it's not coaching running backs, it's definitely a special teams coordinator.
Offensive senior quality control analyst.
Oh. So he's just kind of holding down a chair.
Right. Which is a big fall from grace, obviously, from offensive coordinator at Nebraska. Again, there might be signs before and after Mike Riley left of why that didn't quite work out.
Before we move on too far, where are we at with Mark Banker?
Where is Mark Banker?
What is he up to right now?
I will forever wonder what that could have been. Remember that defense was like a top 30 defense. It wasn't perfect, right? It had its moments, and it was 30th, by the way. I think when I say top 30, definitely back end of that. But that's when they decided that the whole athletic department needed to listen to Bob Diaco. And that was definitely, again, that's the too many chefs in the kitchen. That did not seem to be a Mike Riley decision. That seemed to be an athletic department decision. And I always wonder, I mean, that guy was fun. Remember the bloodbath comment from the Iowa practices?
Do you have any idea, any guesses where Mark Banker ended up?
I just guessed he retired after that. I never really thought.
He appears to have retired, or at least is not coaching anymore. He is just turned 69 in January. After Nebraska took a year off, took 2017 off when he got fired, went to Hawaii where he was hired by Nick Rolovich as assistant head coach before everything happened with Nick Rolovich. And then after that, well, this follows Nick Rolovich to Washington State.
Okay.
To coach the safeties for 2 years. And then that was that.
Well, fair enough. I'm glad to hear at least he rebounded in of sorts. That's intriguing. Not surprised. Yeah, I mean, he was getting up there. He was good for a quote. Some coaches, they might not be the best on the field, but if they're good for a quote, they're better for at least media purposes. And for our
according to LinkedIn, he's now living in Buckeye, Arizona.
Huh. Is that a retirement community, perhaps?
I have no idea. I've never heard of this before. Let's see.
I have not either, but I know there are a few retirement communities down there in Arizona.
Buckeye, Arizona. Looks like it's in the middle of... Okay, so it's like super outskirts of Phoenix.
Oh, okay.
Like west of Phoenix, and it's, even west of Glendale. There on I-10, so by the Gila River.
Oh, good for him. I at one time thought about moving to Phoenix, and then I spent a week down there and decided there's no possible way that's ever going to happen. And when I got there, I was like, everybody's got pools. This place is awesome. And then after like a day, you're like, everybody has a pool for necessity. If I have to come home and jump in the pool and it's not for enjoyment, it's because I want
to.
Yeah, I just want to die otherwise. Other people could do it. It just wasn't for me. Let's go ahead and take a quick break. We've got a few more things to get to. College football, Nebraska, Minnesota, and otherwise. Coming next year on One on One.
Fall is here, and so are cooler temps, darker evenings, and slick roads. Is your vehicle ready for the change in seasons? At A1 Automotive, we've got you covered. From tire checks, brake inspections, batteries, and heater systems, we make sure your car is road ready for the Nebraska winters ahead. Don't wait until the first frost. Schedule your fall car care checkup today and drive with confidence all season long. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. It doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
Concrete Industries has immediate job openings for precast production laborers and maintenance technicians. Concrete Industries offers great pay, health benefits, 401k, a wellness program, holidays, and paid time off. Apply today to earn a starting pay of $21.50 per hour plus a $1,500 hiring bonus. Concrete Industries is hiring all experience levels and offers on-the-job training. Start your career today as a precast production laborer or maintenance technician. Visit concreteindustries.com.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills Global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
For remote starters, audio upgrades, and more, there's only one place to go. Auto Sounds of Lincoln at 48th and O.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Mike, I've been thinking our house could really use a makeover. How about new siding?
I've been thinking the same thing. Have you heard of James Hardy?
Yes. Sarah down the street had Roofing Service Company install James Hardy siding on their home, and they love it.
Roofing Service Company does have great reviews.
They took her through the design process and made everything super easy.
Roofing Service Company offers expert design and installation. Couple that with James Hardy's durable products and variety of colors, you and your family will love your exterior remodel. Just visit roofingservicecompany.com. That's roofingservicecompany.com.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Harvest season is here, and Acres has discounted many of our late model John Deere combines. Get thousands in discounts and upgrade now. Plus, you could save even more with interest rates starting as low as 1.9% on select units. Low interest rates combined with our huge discounts, there's not a better time to buy. Visit acres.com for all the details. That's AKRS.com. Restrictions apply. Offer ends September 30th, 2025. Subject to approved financing. Offer may change at any time without notice.
Boxing is back this Saturday with Brawloween at the Complex. The Midwest's best professional boxers will display their best performances with hometown favorites Clyde Godzilla Johnson and Cody Kerr among the boxers. Get your tickets at thecomplexlincoln.com where you can live stream this event as well. Nebraska football plays on Friday, so Saturday is open for you to attend or watch. Doors open at 6 p.m. with first bout at 7 p.m. this Saturday, October 18th. It's Brawloween at the Complex, located at 1555 Yolanda Avenue.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize to participate in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the KNTK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contests, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
You're listening to One on One with DP, brought to you by Canopy Street Market on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We are back here on One. Just a few minutes before Adam Carricker will take over with the Adam Carricker Show. Of course, this is Game Day Eve. $5 Bits of Broken Chair Trophy around the corner with Nebraska, Minnesota. Austin, how much do you like the Nebraska-Minnesota rivalry? Would you put it, the Big Ten decided year or so ago to only protect the Nebraska-Iowa rivalry in their schedule moving forward. I thought Minnesota might have been the next closest on that. The Wisconsin rivalry seems to have been too one-sided to really ever pick up too much steam. So what do you feel about Nebraska, Minnesota? It's weird because it might be a rivalry. They've played a lot of games before that ever joining the Big Ten. It's not like a hate rivalry at all. It's kind of just for fun.
It's kind of a Minnesota, you piss us off because you beat us too much sort of thing. Minnesota was good like in early college football.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if they were in the Nebraska glory days from the mid 60s through the late 90s. But I think if you think about just the Big Ten era, it makes sense to me why Nebraska would only protect Iowa in that format. Minnesota would have been down my personal list. I think there's a bunch of, cultural similarities between Nebraska and Minnesota. Midwest nice, Great Lakes nice. They all get along, we'll be kind to each other, that sort of thing. But then you throw the PJ Fleck of it into the mix, and Nebraska fans, I don't know if they want to think of it as a rivalry because they think of Minnesota as just some program that they can stomp on and move on. I don't want to think about you. Stop being a pain in the butt. I think it's a better series than Nebraska fans would have given it credit for the most part, entering the Big Ten. Certainly not all the way to full rivalry status. In my eyes, certainly one you get up for. When Nebraska entered the Big Ten, I think Iowa was the natural fit. Of course, in the legends and leaders, you did have Nebraska and Michigan. That's when I think the Big Ten wanted to take off. Nebraska, Michigan State is, I think, an even better underrated kind of rivalry in the Big Ten. Not as many similarities between Nebraska and Michigan State as there are Nebraska and Minnesota, but I think the games have been better between Nebraska and Michigan State. And that's a game I would like to see 3 times out of every 5 years if I had my pick. Wisconsin should have been. That's the natural fit. I think, the red versus the red, the Nebraska connections with Barry Alvarez, both teams kind of being in that, 9 to 10 win range when Nebraska entered the conference. That should have been, I think, Nebraska's second rivalry behind Iowa.
And at one time
but
it
instead,
was.
It was for a year.
For a few years, yeah, I think so.
And then it disappeared behind Nebraska Northwestern.
Right.
So,
yeah, it is sad. I don't even. It's tough to say. Nebraska fans live through it, so we don't have to go through. But it's. At the beginning of the Nebraska-Wisconsin rivalry, those games really did have this is new rivalry, new hate type of stuff, and it just waned over the years because Wisconsin was just it was such a one-sided rivalry. And to your point, unfortunately, under PJ Fleck, it's pretty much been the same way with Minnesota.
Yeah.
6-1 PJ Fleck is against Nebraska. They won the last 5. And so we'll see what kind of happens here. It's Minnesota as a team, Nebraska, I think, though being 5-1, I still I was thinking about this the other day. Obviously their schedule's a little bit lighter than some others. I want this to be a game in that position where the top 25, they're 5-1. I would want this to be a game that I think Nebraska could win handily. And I think that is a possibility. I think that's something that I think is more likely, I guess, than not. And I'm almost over the point of, but this is Nebraska. Here comes the mistakes, right? Here comes, and so you've been there before, though, and that's when usually it kind of happens, right? But I think this is a game Nebraska should be able to win with a little bit of comfortability behind it. If it's close, similar to last week, that's where I worry about a Coy Parrish moment. I think he might be the best player on the field. I think Nebraska's got the best team. I think Minnesota has, while they're 4-2, kind of similar to Nebraska, they've got a solid record. Just hasn't been all that impressive, but it kind of depends too on which Minnesota you get. The one that couldn't score against Cal, who isn't all that great, or in my mind, a Rutgers team that probably is going to be bowl eligible, a solid Rutgers team. They had to scrap out and get a win there. So it kind of depends on what look we get from Minnesota.
So when Minnesota went to Cal was actually playing pretty well. They've kind of fallen off a little bit. The Rutgers game sticks in my brain because I was watching that one unfold. I'm like, okay, going back and forth. There's a surprising amount of points for these two teams. And Minnesota Devil magic is still real. Rutgers was driving. And then the center misheard the quarterback, mistimed the snap, something. And it goes through Calic Manis's legs. It was perfect for him to catch it. But if it's 1 inch higher, he's sore for a second, but it's a 47-yard field goal or 42-yard field goal? No, instead of the ball just falling harmlessly to the turf, it goes through his legs. He has to run around. It's a 15-yard loss. Instead of a 5-yard loss, you have a 62-yard or 52-yard, whatever field goal to win it. Right? How does that happen for Minnesota? On paper, a lot slants Nebraska's way. Except for, I'm not over the Minnesota factor. I think there's something about that program and PJ Fleck that they're going to be ready, especially seeing a old number 25 by Nebraska's name. Darius Taylor, the running back, his status is still up in the air, but Minnesota's going to want to run the ball. Matt Rule said it yesterday. The one run play Nebraska's consistently struggled against is outside zone. What does Minnesota do really well? Outside zone. This can't look like Michigan, where Nebraska is good, explosive big play against the run. Good, explosive big play. That can't happen. If Nebraska cuts out the explosives, yeah, they'll be fine against Minnesota. But if they're able to hit a couple of those big ones to go for Czar, I start getting a little nervous.
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out. It'll be a fun one. Of course, we got plenty more to talk about throughout the day and leading into tomorrow for that Nebraska-Minnesota game. Thanks for joining us for One-on-One, the Adam Carriger Show, coming next year on 93.7 The Ticket.
Imagine starting your day with a computer glitch that leaves you feeling stuck, frustrated, and unable to get your work done. You have 1,000,001 things to get done today, and waiting for the tech issue to solve itself isn't one of them. It's time to let Hamilton handle the tech so you don't have to. We help business